Good evening, Crime Crunchies. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight. I am Courtney C., your host, a 27-year veteran of the media, and I'm so happy to be able to now bring you Crime Crunchies. Wow, wow, wow. Well, I actually have a full lineup over the next few weeks. Hi, Alpha Wolf. So good to see you. I have a full lineup over the next few days, excuse me. So you'll see on my channel, I have a special scheduled for tomorrow night. We will be interviewing live a real kidnapping victim. We're going to learn about how this person was kidnapped when they were young and go through all of her details. And then we are going to talk about the differences in the fiasco of Nancy Guthrie. So we've got that. And then Friday, I'm going to be going into the connection of Cameron Guthrie with the 12 missing and dead scientists. So that should be a good show on Friday. Hey, Lisa, Crime After Dark HQ. I have your thumbnail. And actually, our kidnapped victim is Crime After Dark HQ, our lovely Lisa who joins our shows quite often. She's a regular community member. So very excited. Thank you for scheduling that with me, Miss Lisa. Hello, Poppy's Post. Great to see all my regulars. All right. I have a full show lined up for tonight. And then I got an email from our friend Joe, and he drew my attention to apparently Crime Junkie has acquired/hired our breaking news reporter Brianna Whitney out of the Tucson area. And Brianna Whitney has seen the ransom notes. And apparently a video came out 4 hours ago where Brianna is talking about what's in the ransom notes because she's seen them. And so I wanted to see if it might make sense to pivot the other things I have. I can put it on ice. I can save it for this weekend. It's not going anywhere. We definitely need to look at how the investigation has stalled, to say the least. We can come back to that. So would anyone like to just kind of pivot and see if we can watch some of the video? It's a 40-minute long video. I don't want to do that. Okay, thank you so much, Joe. I'm glad you're here because it sounds like it might be worth it. I'm not going to go into the very beginning because I think that Brianna Whitney, she spends time talking about the case with Ashley Flowers. So I'm going to kind of jump forward into when it looks like she's talking about the ransom note. And I actually have Monk's queued up. I have Monk's latest video queued up because I wanted to watch that as well and update. I have been back and forth with Monk's. He's super busy. He just came out with this video and he's actually working on a Zodiac. Joe, let me know. I'm looking at about 22 minutes into the video. If it seems like that might be when it picks up. I don't want us wasting time, but I don't want us wasting time watching things that we already are very familiar with. So that's about what I was looking at. And then pivoting back to Monk's, he is working on a Zodiac Killer series. And so he's been trying to do research for that. He has a kiddo that's on summer vacation. He's got this really cute cat, if you've ever heard of Toki, who I know you all have. And I guess Toki has been slowing him down with his research. So I am going to send Monk's my questions, really mostly about him. And then we'll talk a little bit about the case. But I said, you know what, even when your kiddo goes back to school, it could be August. You know, we're going to get to it. And I'm still working on, Pride? Oh my gosh. You guys know I do this every time. I've reached out to several people. I've emailed Dr. Gary and asked for an interview. I've emailed Boomer. I'm emailing anyone I can get an email for. I'm reaching out because I don't want to just interview them about the Nancy case. I want to interview them about them. So if anyone has an in on any other content creators and you're watching right now, if you could please do an intro. My email is crimecrunchies@gmail.com. I really am looking to interview not just about the case, but I really like learning about people and what they do, how they got into this space. I think that there's more of a story than just with Nancy. So I'm very interested in collaborating. I really want to support other creators. Blah, blah, blah. We're pivoting. It's official. We're pivoting. I'm going to share my screen, and that is your cue. It's your cue. If you have not subscribed, it's your time. I did go with an AI generated thumbnail because you know what? I got to keep growing, and the algorithm doesn't like me sometimes. So I'm pivoting. All right. So this is Crime Junkie. Ashley Flowers is a regular host, but she has acquired Brianna Whitney, who is the reporter who broke a lot of the stories. She has seen the ransom notes, and I've forwarded through this video. So if you want to go back and watch the first 22 minutes, go for it. I'm going to start playing this so we can learn. Thank you again, Joe. And we'll just play it as long as it feels organic. All right. So here we go.
Reuters came out and said that they had this anonymous FBI source that had said all ransom notes in the investigation were fake.
Yeah.
All of
that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And just like a week ago. And the FBI, I mean, I'm like calling the FBI, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, is this true or not? And mind you, like there's these 2 ransom notes that came in. And then there's like this slew of all these notes and emails and things that are coming in to namely TMZ that have been reported over the past couple months as well. Like one of them was this email that came in from this guy that was like, I know the kidnapper. I have video of Nancy alive on her last day with the kidnapper. It's on a phone in a secure location. And if you give me a Bitcoin, then I will reveal the safe location. Crazy. I mean, these are just like crazy things. We don't know if that's legit.
Yeah.
But we do know that the FBI arrested somebody very quickly early on in the investigation for sending a fake ransom note. So we do know that they're able to determine what is and isn't real pretty quickly. That person has pleaded guilty. So that kind of leads you to believe that if they can deem that to be true, and if they're not saying anything about some of these emails, that they're still looking at these 2 notes as being credible.
What connects the second one to the first one?
Came in through the same tip line to the news station. They basically they believe they referenced some of the same things, and it was a different IP address, but sent in the same way with the same kind of tone. So they believe that those were the 2 that came in from the same person at this point, that those 2 are related. Is it possible that they're not? Sure.
Yeah.
But the way that this was sent, and like 100% was at the very end of this.
Please hold, everybody. Joe is asking me to go back. He's watched this, and so we are wanting her to read the notes. So please bear with me.
So obviously the tone has completely changed, right?
Yeah.
And clearly at this point, if these are true, in week 1 of this investigation, Nancy Guthrie had died. Sources were giving number 2. And ransom note number 2 had a significant DNAs in the blood too. And it wasn't. Trace of anything we have is when Nancy
all that like the police took the Nest Cam as part of their evidence collection, or was it like clear that somebody like ripped that off?
At first it was possible, but it seemed odd.
Right.
It seemed odd because you knew, like in this day and age, 2026, right? Like the physical camera.
But that's what seems odd about them taking it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, what's the point of taking it? Everything's in the cloud.
Maybe they didn't know. And honestly, and I'm going to get more into this, but like the criminal sophistication of the kidnapper.
How it was carried out, yeah.
It might be a little lower than people think.
Okay.
So we'll get into that. But from now on, I'm going to refer to him as Porch Guy, because that is how he has basically become known on social media, is Porch Guy, who's seen in the video, right? This brazen video.
Yeah.
And we don't know how it ends. We only know when he goes in. So we can tell when the camera system was accessed, which was overnight. He goes in, that's then disconnected, still overnight. And then really the last trace of anything we have is when Nancy's pacemaker disconnected shortly after that. So she had a pacemaker, and that was part of this too. Like, obviously we're talking about vulnerable and frail. as the investigation's unfolding, the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Department is like, look, she had a pacemaker. She had a very serious heart condition. She really couldn't walk more than a couple steps on her own. So like, she'd not just up and walk out of her house. And then you're looking at the blood droplets and you're thinking, I mean, it kind of looked like almost like a bloody nose was dripping. I've also heard that potentially, like, was she bleeding from an injury and it dripped off her arm, like onto the concrete? The other hope at that point was, well, let's hope that this guy's DNA is in the blood too. And it wasn't. It was just Nancy Guthrie's DNA. So you have that. And I thought, looking at the video, I thought, if you were walking in a ski mask, I would know it was you through and through, right? Like, if you're a friend or you know this person, you're going to know who they are with the ski mask on or not. You're going to know the way that they walk.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, great.
Please hold. Joe is indicating I might need to go back because we do want to hear what's in these notes. So please hold. It's still good info, but let me go back a little bit more. I'm looking for when she's looking down and reading. Thank you for your patience.
These deadlines to us. And we're like, okay, what's going to happen? Are they going to, what now? Are they going to put money into this? She will be released within 12 hours.
All right, here's the first one.
Hello, for 1
All right.
and 2.
Thank you, Joe. Here is the first ransom note that we have never heard before. It looks like she's going to start reading it. Hold on to your seats. Please hold on to the bar.
But that's what a press conference was called. The only press conference, by the way, that we've had in this investigation since it all started. And that's where we learned there was a 5 p.m. deadline on that Thursday. There was another deadline on that Monday. And it started with $4 million in Bitcoin demanded for day one. And if you didn't meet that, then it was $6 million demanded for the next one. So now there's a ticking time clock as to what's going to happen.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I want to talk about the ransom note with you. And I'm going through my computer just to make sure that I get this all right. There's been bits of this that have been talked about online. There's been parts that people know, but I don't think they know all of the verbiage. And I think this is very important because it sets the tone for what was about to come. So I'm going to read you part of it. This is how it started. Hello, Savannah. We have your mother, Nancy. She is safe but scared. She will be held for ransom, and once payment is received, she will be released unharmed. We will be holding her for a maximum of 7 days. So they go on then to demand the millions of dollars, and they give the 2 deadlines. But what is key here, I think, is that the money was demanded in USD, so US dollar. Typically, if this is coming from somebody here,
You don't say that.
you don't say that, which is key for this theory we're going to talk about later.
Okay, so she's saying you don't ask for that if you're from here, specifying US dollar.
In the episode.
So they're saying they will only hold her for 7 days.
For 7 days, right. Then they get pretty demanding and snarky with how they address Savannah. And mind you, that's also important, right? They're addressing just Savannah.
Yeah.
They don't say the Guthrie family. Hello, Savannah, we have your mother.
We always wondered if it was like about who she was, or did they just happen upon her not knowing that it was going to garner this attention? But it seems like this was about, or they at least, like, not necessarily about Savannah, but they knew Savannah had money.
Yes.
At a minimum.
I think, so Savannah, I believe, was obviously, the target of where we would get the money from if you were the person who was targeting this. And I think there's a reason maybe why they targeted her. I'll get into that too.
Okay.
I'm going to read you 3 more parts of this ransom note, and then we'll kind of talk about it after. So this is what it went on to say. Once payment is received to the Bitcoin address below, she will be released within 12 hours of deposit to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson. If the payment is not received by the last deadline on Monday the 9th at 5 p.m., she will be killed. Your mother is aware of this, and her life is in your hands. It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. You will not be able to contact me from here on out. There will be no negotiation. Do not play games. Law enforcement will not be able to help you.
Oh my God.
And then at the very end, they basically give what we learned in the press conference at the time, that there was something only the abductor would know, which was she had a white smartwatch that was on the floor near her bed, like at the foot of her bed. And then there was this floodlight that was destroyed in the backyard. So those 2 clues are what gave the FBI kind of the wherewithal to say,
This is not a hoax.
At least they didn't think so, or they were investigating it as possibly legitimate. They still are, by the way.
Probably also why they kept you guys out of the backyard.
How can they not think that's legitimate? Okay, if they said the white Apple Watch is on the floor near the foot of the bed, and we knew about the light in the back. But how can the FBI not think that's real? How can they not take that seriously? A. And then B, looks pretty freaking real to me. Enough that a woman could die on Monday, and then they told Savannah to not pay the ransom? What the hell? And I mean, I'm not blaming Savannah. They don't know what to do. These are professional negotiators. Why wouldn't, I mean, why wouldn't they trust the FBI? I think we're law enforcement. We don't even know if the FBI, because that's one of the things I was going to talk about, is the fact that the FBI was held off, and we're learning facts about how that hurt this investigation in many ways. And that directly goes to Nanos. This makes me angry, Charlotte. C is saying, this makes me angry. This lady knew this info the whole time and kept it to herself. Why? I don't want to hear anything this lady says. And you know what? I get it. But here's the thing. I don't know if anyone watched the Brian Enton interview of Elizabeth Smart's father. And he said that there were many things that investigation for his daughter that he didn't agree with, that he felt were bad calls. And he wishes that he had said, okay, if this is what you guys think you need to do, great, run with it for 30 days. But after that, I'm going to do what I want to do. You guys have the first 30 days, go to bat. And after that, it's open game. Because when they took Mary Catherine's remembering the killer or the kidnapper, and the fact that she had identified him, and the minute they made the composite and put it out there and said, screw you, law enforcement, you're not listening, we're going rogue. They found the guy within days. And they could have found him months earlier. And yes, these people, oh boy, I'm going to get angry. They have screwed this up so badly. And as far as these ransom notes go, and I understand what you're saying, Charlotte, about why she kept this to herself. Brianna kept this to herself because they were asked not to reveal it. And people were honoring what they were asked to do. They were told, don't reveal any of these notes. They may not be real. They could, give information, crime, guilt, knowledge. And so people were told you can't release it. And you know what? I am so glad they're doing this. They should have done this a long time ago. It's sickening. And you know what? I'm going to keep going because I want to hear everything, because here's the deal. Brianna has an in on this that we don't know. And I didn't really want to play too much of this video, only the pertinent parts, but she's got insight. And I want to hear it. She's the one who really knows what's going on. And the dams need to break.
Right? They don't want anyone reporting,
of course,
about the light. Okay.
And so there was like a Bitcoin wallet, an address that was at the bottom of this that would be where you would deposit the funds. And I think something that I took away from reading this right off the bat was that you will not hear from me. Like they were cutting off communication. It was just like, pay.
We don't want back and forth. We want money. I've told you exactly what we want.
Exactly. The other part that I think is really interesting here, because again, we have no idea where Nancy went, where she is. The specific verbiage of once they get the money, she will be released to a safe drop-off location back in Tucson.
Indicating she's not in Tucson.
That's what I think. Now, could it be right outside Tucson? Very possible.
Yeah.
Very early on, people thought that maybe she could have been taken down to Mexico. The border is very close there. It's easy to access. That's possible too.
Yeah.
But I mean, this was pretty serious. And I think too, just like taking that tone of like, do not play games. Law enforcement will not help you. I mean, can you imagine reading this?
Well, I mean, I would imagine they'd have to get out of Tucson. Like they know, again, if they knew who they were abducting, they knew she was Savannah Guthrie's mom. You know that there is going to be a massive police press presence as soon as this happens.
Yes. So that comes in. And at first, you know, they gave that to the FBI, to the authorities, to the Pima County Sheriff's Department. And at that point, too, is kind of where we were learning what the split was between what the Pima County Sheriff's Department was handling and what the FBI was handling. So it seemed that as the investigation unfolded, that kind of got a little blurry. The FBI was definitely not pleased about the scene being released to all of us. Why? Because they needed to go in and check what other evidence there was that possibly could lend itself to what now was coming in digitally. So what ended up really playing out was the Pima County Sheriff's Department was more so in charge of the like on the ground investigation, the scene itself, kind of that. The FBI was the go-to for everything, ransom note, digital tracking, like all of that you would think the FBI would be involved in. And that became key here. So they have this press conference. That's where they reveal these deadlines to us. And we're like, okay, what's going to happen? What now? Are they going to put money into this? And at this point now there's a reward that's also, you know, please come forward for information. February 9th was that like next deadline. And then February 10th is the most pivotal day in the investigation. That is when the Nest video camera was released by the FBI. So they had been going through trying to mine what they could that was on that camera. Shane and I were heading down to Tucson because we had gotten a tip, an insider saying, hey, the FBI is going to release this. Like Director Kash Patel is going to put this on his X account, his Twitter account. That is how they released this video. And so we're like scrolling, monitoring.
It's kind of crazy.
I know. Okay. Yeah. Right. So I'm like scrolling. We're on our way to Tucson. The video drops. And when I tell you, I'm watching these clips and it is so brazen the way that this person gets to the home that it like sent chills down my spine. Like you're looking at this and you're like, oh my God. Like this is what you see in a horror movie.
Yeah.
This is not real life. And I've thought this the whole time too. This would be a crazy story, you know.
So, I know that like Charlotte might be gone already. I certainly don't want law enforcement knows what they're doing. And I know that they know what they're doing. I can see, thinking about your point, is Brianna going rogue on Crime Junkies because she's new and she has this information, proprietary information? Is she sharing too much? And I'm not going to call it clickbait. I mean, believe me, I want to know these details. I'm not even going to pretend I don't want to know these details. But is what she's doing what's best for the case? I think that that's kind of what Charlotte C. is mentioning. And Jet Set, you're saying if she's not a critical thinker and fact-based, then I won't be able to listen to her. So Brianna is fact-based in this instance, because she's telling us behind the scene facts that we've not been privy to. And she's finally lifting the veil on these ransom notes. She's going there. Now, me, as somebody who wants this information so that it can help, and sleuthers, we want this information because these are pieces of the puzzle we've never had. And this is how it can help in a selfish way for us to learn what's been going on that we've not been told and help us put puzzle pieces together. That's my selfish motivation. But I have to say, is this fair to the case? And is this hurting the case? Now, it's already public. How many views have we got already on this thing? The second note hurts a little. Ugh. All right, let me see how many. It's got 8,000 views in 4 hours, but I guarantee you it's going to have this, by the time this is done, is probably going to have 1 million views or hundreds of thousands. Jet Set. I like Brittany. I keep calling her Brittany. It's Brianna. I keep doing it too. But need to see how I feel about Ashley. Yes, I agree with the selfish motivation, but I'm not sure what angle Brittany is going for. Now, Ashley Flowers is, if you've never heard of Ashley Flowers, she's actually been in the space a really long time. She goes and Crime Junkies is actually huge on podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere. It's a huge channel, and she actually is a really good victims advocate. So I trust Ashley Flowers. If anyone else has a comment about Ashley Flowers, I don't have a problem with Ashley Flowers because she does stick to facts. She doesn't just go off on rhetoric. So anyway, with that being said, I want to give a caveat that this may be hurting the case, but it's already out there. I still want to hear this because we are trying to figure out what happened to Nancy, and this is behind the veil. So if you guys are okay, I'm going to continue. And there's years and years of shows, and there's actually another break off of Crime Junkie called The Deck. I mean, there's tons. So it's there at this point, Alpha. So I'm just going to keep playing because I do want to hear the second note, and I'm afraid of what's in that.
It is so brazen the way that this person gets to the home that it like sent chills down my spine. Like you're looking at this and you're like, oh my God. Like this is what you see in a horror movie.
Yeah.
This is not real life. And I've thought this the whole time too. This would be a crazy story no matter whose grandma this was, right? Like grandma is abducted. We now have this insane video of this guy who is in a ski mask. He's got like something in his pocket. He's got a backpack, and he gets up to the camera, like face in the camera, and he's got this like shrubbery. He's either trying to like hide it.
What was that? People like dissected this video.
Oh my God.
10 Ways to Sunday. Like it was wild.
Yes. How did he walk? His gait. Could you tell?
The backpack.
The backpack. Yeah. So we still don't really know the shrubbery. Some people say it was like try to cover it up, but he knew it was there. Another theory that I've heard is maybe he was using that to try to like get it off the thing, like use the plants to get it off the whole. Like
like when you guys went to the scene that first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm going to stop and commentate. So one of the things that I was going to talk about tonight is the fact that on a Brian Enton video, I'm not going to do it now, but John Moore on Brian Enton speaks about how there is a timeline issue with the doorbell disconnect and the video. So that will wait because now I feel like I'm in it to win it. So here we go.
And you showed up. Did you think at all that like the police took the Nest Cam as part of their evidence collection, or was it like clear that somebody like ripped that off?
At first it was possible, but it seemed odd.
Right.
It seemed odd because you knew like in this day and age, 2026, right? Like the physical camera.
But that's what seems odd about them taking it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like, what's the point of taking it? Everything's in the cloud.
Maybe they didn't know. And honestly, and I'm going to get more into this, but like the criminal sophistication of the kidnapper.
How it was carried out, yeah.
It might be a little lower than people think.
Okay.
So we'll get into that. But from now on, I'm going to refer to him as Porch Guy because that is how he has basically become known on social media, is Porch Guy who's seen in the video, right? This brazen video.
Yeah.
And we don't know how it ends. We only know when he goes in. So we can
well, and I think that we don't think Porch Guy is the same as the writer of the ransom notes. And I'm sorry, there's no way that ransom note should not have been taken seriously, and that I'm sure that there isn't a day or a night that goes by that Savannah Guthrie isn't throwing up in the toilet bowl because she didn't pay the ransom on the advice of the negotiators, and her mother could have been saved. Maybe not, but she could have at least had the body and said, whatever condition she's in, whether she's dead or alive, drop her off somewhere in Tucson and you got your money. That's exactly what I would have said, because even if she was dead, I freaking want my mom. I freaking want my mom. And how was that lost in the conversation? How was that lost in the conversation that it's still a person? And if you don't have proof of life, who gives a shit? Who gives a shit? They wanted her back. They are never going to have any closure and know what happened. They had an opportunity to maybe know what happens, and they didn't do it. So I'm going to continue.
Hell, when the camera system was accessed, which was overnight, he goes in, that's then disconnected, still overnight. And then really the last trace of anything we have is when Nancy's pacemaker disconnected shortly after that. So she had a pacemaker, and that was part of this too. Like, obviously we're talking about vulnerable and frail. As the investigation's unfolding, the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Department is like, look, she had a pacemaker. She had a very serious heart condition. She really couldn't walk more than a couple steps on her own. So like, she'd not just up and walk out of her house. And then you're looking at the blood droplets and you're thinking, I mean, it kind of looked like almost like a bloody nose was dripping. I've also heard that potentially, like, was she bleeding from an injury and it dripped off her arm, like onto the concrete? The other hope at that point was, well, let's hope that this guy's DNA is in the blood too. And it wasn't. It was just Nancy Guthrie's DNA. So you have that. And I thought, looking at the video, I thought, oh, if you were walking in a ski mask, I would know it was you through and through, right? Like, if you're a friend or you know this person, you're going to know who they are with the ski mask on or not. You're going to know the way that they walk.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, great. We're getting somewhere. We're going to figure out who this is really quickly.
Start the clock.
Start the clock. And here we are, 6 months later. We still don't know who Porch Guy is, which is crazy. The other thing that was really unsettling about the videos that came out later was that we learned that authorities were like, hey, neighbors, check your surveillance video, not only for the night of the January 31st into February 1st, but also January 11th. That was weird. And we still don't really know why that is an investigative date in this case. It is possible that the videos that Kash Patel put out, that one of them was actually from a couple weeks before she vanished. And there's been some dissection online of whether that's the case or not. It is possible that Porch Guy was casing out the area.
Well, and we've also seen, and I'll interweave some of the things that I was going to talk about tonight with this fact, is that we now know that because of the delay in the FBI getting involved, it certainly wasn't Pima County who came up with, hey, I'm a powerful and knowledgeable person. Let's call Google and let's just see what they can do. We know that there was no Nest subscription, but let's just go ahead and reach out to our buddies, our BFFs at Google, and to see what they can do. And guess what? They did something, okay? They did something. But the idea is the system is only going to cache those images and video for so long. And it's very possible that maybe all they have is that one image from the 11th. We don't know. I mean, maybe there could have been more, but maybe that's all there is. And maybe the only video we have is what they're showing us. We don't know. And let's just assume that what we've seen is what we get, and that's all we have. Then if Pima County had not delayed, what was it, 5 days before they let the feds in, and then the feds came up with this idea and then went with Google, and then Google did the thing. I mean, we lost a week and a half on that. If the feds had gotten involved and that could have sped up, what if we had gotten more? Okay, what if we had gotten more? And we don't know. And if there is more, I feel like at this point, they need to just show us what they got. Okay. And I have to say that, looking at the recent interviews of people saying you don't want to release this information because we want to make sure that the person who did this doesn't go underground. Well, if they don't know who that person is, at this point, they have nothing to lose. If they don't know who Porch Guy is, if they have no lead on Porch Guy, he's already underground. These people are looking at this one-dimensionally. With the ransom, we can't pay the ransom without proof of life. Don't care. I want my mother's dead body. If she's dead, I can't help her, but I have to try and help her if she's still alive. I don't care. Give me her dead body, because now I have to face a lifetime without my mother's dead body, blah, blah, blah. And if there's more that they're afraid they're going to drive Porch Guy underground, he's already underground. If they have no leads, he is underground. We need to identify him. An ex-girlfriend. There's probably an unhappy ex-girlfriend of Porch Guy out there somewhere that has not seen or heard or whatever. The billboards should have had Porch Guy. I could go on and on and on, and I'm going to shut up.
House before he actually carried out the abduction.
Interesting.
So here we are, right? Crazy week. We got abduction, we got ransom note, we got press conference, we've got video. Boom, ransom note number 2. And ransom note number 2 had a significantly different tone than ransom note number 1.
And by the time you get ransom note number 2, have any of the deadlines passed? Or all of them? Or
I believe it was in the middle of them. So I think there was still, you were still going to be able to get to the second deadline.
Okay.
But I want to read to you what this said. And I guess actually before I read it, Savannah Guthrie and her siblings had been very outspoken at this point on social media. She was using Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, basically putting out these pleading videos we want our mother back. What can we do? Please show us proof of life.
Too late.
Proof of life becomes a huge part of this whole thing, right? If you can show that you have Nancy Guthrie and proof of life, then they'll pay.
Yeah.
Right. And
they would have paid for her dead body. They would have paid for half of her dead body. Not trying to be gross, but they would have.
Eventually offer also over $1 million. I mean, they want Nancy back. So that's what they were waiting for. But obviously you're not going to willy-nilly put money into a Bitcoin wallet without proof of life that this person actually has Nancy.
Yeah. Oh, but you could put $152 McHappy Meal money. Sorry.
Yeah.
So ransom note number 2, I've actually revealed a lot of the details on our Crime Junkie social media pages just a couple weeks ago. And the reason why was because inside sources were giving media networks and outlets bits and pieces of ransom note number 2. They were reporting it. And I was like, at this point, people just need to know what it says.
Yes, yeah. Agreed.
But for those who haven't heard it, this is the verbiage that's in ransom note number 2. We did not fully grasp the seriousness of her physical conditions. We never intended to hurt her. That was not our intention. She perished shortly after she was taken. We believe it was heart-related. She is buried in nature now. Nothing you could have done could have changed the outcome. We are truly sorry. And there was a lot of debate back and forth online on whether there was an apology or not. There 100% was at the very end of this. So obviously the tone has completely changed, right?
Yeah.
And clearly at this point, if these are true, in week 1 of this investigation, Nancy Guthrie had died. Now, obviously they're trying to, divert any blame from them. Hey, it was her health and we didn't know that. So we're not culpable, but sorry. And then goodbye. Buried in nature. Now, verbiage, right? Remember the USD, the US dollar, right? This is also a weird way of speaking. She perished shortly after she was taken. She is buried in nature now. It's just a little off. And I believe this may be because the person writing the notes is foreign. English is their second language, or they are using a translator to get their point across. We'll get into that in a second.
Which has been mentioned before. And you know what? Perished, if this person is a foreign speaker, I could see how a translation app might have picked the word perish to match maybe a foreign language word that means died. It is flowery and poetic, but if somebody doesn't know that Americans don't use the word perish, I could see even a highbrow Brit using the king's language and saying perished. I can't do the English accent, but I could see a formal British highbrow speaker saying the word perished if they use hoity-toity words. So I'm not necessarily going to go with Arabic, Indian. I'm not necessarily Asian. Not necessarily going with that. And US dollars is different from a pound note and a euro. But if you are on the euro or the pound note, which has more value than the US dollar, you're not going to ask for a US dollar because 4 million USD is crap compared to 4 million pound note or euro. So we would have to look at a country whose monetary value makes USD more valuable, in my opinion. Could it be South American? I think they have their own currencies. So again, I think we need to go pesos. I think we would need to go to a country that has less value. Their currency has less value than USD because that would be an upgrade to them. 4 million USD could be double the equivalent. So Dubai, so what you're saying is AED is 4 million or $1 US is 3. So there is okay, so I have to think backwards. Okay, but yeah, basically it has to be a currency that is less valuable. And the perished definitely could be a translator. But hold on, I'm just talking. I appreciate you guys letting me talk and just brainstorm. Somebody who is flowery and poetic could still ask for 4 million Bitcoin USD. And I don't know that we need to be so stuck on the currency because it could be that when you send Bitcoin that you are required to select a currency and Bitcoin may not default to USD. Like when we're in shopping carts, it's always defaulted to US dollars, but Bitcoin is global. Bitcoin value is global. So you may need to select USD from a list and you would have to know USD because I could go there and go, okay, here's your 4 million. 4 million what? Corona? Pesos? Pounds? Euros? What? So I would say I'm not sure I want to read so much into this at this time. If that makes sense, and you guys may disagree or agree.
So now you have ransom note number 2 that we now know behind the scenes is happening, right? But the FBI and PCSD, they were never revealing what ransom note number 2 said, just that it was received. But Savannah went on to her social media and said, we've received your note. And at this point now, like, there's a very clear tone change in her too. And the retired investigator I talked to said it was very much like a hostage negotiator type tone. You could tell that she had worked with the FBI. But at this point now, they're pleading to get Nancy back no matter if it's dead or alive.
Yeah, but it's too
and
late.
you can tell at this point that she's like, we'll do anything to bring her home. Like that became the hashtag was like, bring her home no matter what. And
so, and again, I'm not trying to kick a horse, but if a negotiator has done this, would they have sat down with the family, set expectations, gone through the different scenarios? Scenario A is, yeah, let's ask for proof of life and let's not pay this ransom unless we have proof of life, because we certainly don't want to give kidnappers the encouragement and the enablement to want to continue kidnapping because it works. Or do we, if you say without proof of life, I'm not paying this because we don't want to enable and encourage future kidnappers to kidnap. And that's why they do that. But here's the deal, family. If she's already dead or you don't pay and she's dead, how are we going to negotiate this so that you get her body back? Maybe that's not even law enforcement. Maybe they don't even talk to the family about that. Maybe there is no choice B. And maybe you don't set expectations. Because, there was an interview of a negotiator and he said, you've got families who, when you tell them without proof of life, you cannot pay this, and it's grandma or mom or their child, and there's nothing you can do. Maybe there is no negotiation going back that way. I don't know. I cannot imagine being put in that spot. But I would have hoped, because if you see these, go back and look at the Instagram videos of Savannah. I mean, she looks wiped out. She's pale. Her face is puffy from probably scream crying every day. And I'm not being sarcastic. I'm sure she's scream crying every day. Let's continue.
Just personally watching this happen, like reporting on it. Like I was doing the job that Savannah would typically do on a massive investigation, right?
Yeah.
She is a seasoned anchor reporter. For her to have to be the story, heartbreaking, like awful. And I could not imagine the position that she was in, especially because we didn't know if her job was part of this and she didn't know if her job was part of this. And it was just like heartbreaking to watch these videos. But there was never proof of life. The only thing that ever happened was that there was a very small amount of money put into the Bitcoin wallet that came in that first ransom note.
By authorities?
We don't know who put it in there. We can assume that it was authorities and the Guthrie family together, or one of the
Were you guys
other.
like watching it? Or
yes, we can monitor it. There's only certain people who can monitor it who had the note. We can monitor it. We saw a very small amount put in. It was like a test with this like attached note that said, contact us, we are ready to talk, something along those lines. And nothing else ever happened though in that ransom note. That Bitcoin wallet was never active again, and nothing came of that. So my thought was, they're asking for proof of life. Clearly, if you believe these ransom notes are legit, they can't prove proof of life. So like, done. But we didn't really know if it was done or not, because we didn't know if the ransom notes were legit either.
Yeah.
We still don't really know if they're legit. There has been some reporting in the past month. Reuters came out and said that they had this anonymous FBI source that had said all ransom notes in the investigation were fake.
Yeah.
All of
that came out of nowhere.
Yeah. And just like a week ago. And the FBI, I mean, I'm like calling the FBI, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, is this true or not? And mind you, like there's these 2 ransom notes that came in. And then there's like this slew of all these notes and emails and things that are coming into, namely TMZ, that have been reported over the past couple months as well. Like one of them was this email that came in from this guy that was like, I know the kidnapper. I have video of Nancy alive on her last day with the kidnapper. It's on a phone in a secure location. And if you give me a Bitcoin, then I will reveal the safe location. Crazy. I mean, these are just like crazy things. We don't know if that's legit.
Yeah.
But we do know that the FBI arrested somebody very quickly early on in the investigation for sending a fake ransom note. So we do know that they're able to determine what is and isn't real pretty quickly. That person has pleaded guilty.
I'm muted. I said, au contraire, mon cher. We're not so sure that text from Derek Colella was a ransom note. It didn't say anything about ransom. It didn't mention Nancy's name. So it's not a ransom. But everyone's treating it like it is. And yet it wasn't prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, said the feds, by the prosecutors, because they got him for harassment via telecommunications device, which is not the same. It was not a ransom. And they did not persecute him. He has not been persecuted. His sentence is a slap on the wrist, and he got free inpatient rehab.
So that kind of leads you to believe that if they can deem that to be true, and if they're not saying anything about some of these emails, that they're still looking at these two notes as being credible.
What connects the second one to the first one?
Came in through the same tip line to the news station. They basically they believe they referenced some of the same things, and it was a different IP address, but sent in the same way with the same kind of tone. So they believe that those were the two that came in.
So if they have an IP address, how is it that they're not able to track this guy? Something smells fishy. Fishy, swishy.
From the same person at this point, that those two are related. Is it possible that they're not? Sure.
Yeah.
But the way that this was sent, and like, mind you too, that's like a pretty interesting way to send something through a anonymous tip line to a local news station. It's like a jot form. So the way that it's sent, you don't see it, but they use different IP addresses, but they couldn't track it. That was part of what was causing the issues as well. So you have those two things happening. At this point, the FBI has come out and on the record said that, yes, some ransom notes and some emails we've deemed to be bogus, but there are still some that we are investigating as possibly legitimate in this kidnapping ransom case, which is likely these two that we're talking about. We also don't know what else is coming behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And that's what's hard too, right? We've had no information trickling out. And I think from my perspective, reporting on this, there have been a lot of missteps, so much so that I'm honestly concerned about if we ever get to an arrest, what the prosecution is going to do to actually try to get justice in the case. Because for one thing, the scene, right?
Yeah.
That was bad. And the sheriff, Chris Nanos, did admit, we probably shouldn't have done that. We probably should have kept it secure. Yeah, I'd say so, because my DNA might be on the driveway and the porch. There were a lot of people up and down there. So if that's a contaminated scene in a court of law, that's
case number one for the defense. Check. The sheriff admitted he screwed up.
So wild.
I mean, that could really impact everything. It's totally wild. Then you had what felt like this kind of tension between the sheriff's department and the FBI. And some of that came to be where the DNA was sent. So PCSD was using this private lab in Florida, and they were sending stuff there, but the FBI wanted to use their lab in Quantico. It's a premier lab that they can try to get things back quickly. And there was this kind of chatter online of okay, well, so-and-so doesn't know where this DNA is being sent. We wanted to send it here, but you sent it there.
And if people don't think Alan Jackson is watching this daily, you wrong.
And they had to address that, and they'd be like, it's fine, but
but it clearly is not fine.
It was not fine. So you had
Mom
that.
and Dad are fighting.
Right. And then let's talk about some of what was said to me and my team behind the scenes from the sheriff.
Ooh.
So I haven't talked about this before, but I think this kind of highlights how this all went. To clarify where the DNA evidence was going was of the utmost importance to accurate reporting, right? Yes. In Arizona, the nightly newscasts are on at 10 p.m. That is standard across the board. And as we all know in this job, the news doesn't sleep, right?
Yeah.
But it's especially not sleeping in the biggest investigation in the country at 10 p.m., which is not even that late. So we were getting ready for the evening newscast. And this is among where the DNA evidence is going. What are you testing? How are you testing it? And my team sent a text to Sheriff Chris Nanos, just trying to clarify what was going on with the DNA evidence so that we could be right before the newscast. So this was around 9:50 that the text was sent to him.
And this is what, a week out?
Yeah, this is within February. So it was a week, within 1 or 2 weeks since she was missing. Still, we're talking top lead story headlines across every news network every night at this point still. So my team texts him trying to get clarification. We immediately received a text back from him that said, "Did you happen to notice the time? Give it a rest."
What?
What?
When I tell you, we looked at that text, I looked at the text, and I was like, you've got to be joking. First off, that text took more effort than simply
An answer.
no or a yes or don't respond.
And to the point of timing, this isn't a year out and you're bothering.
This is how Chris Nanos treats everybody. So this is him in a nutshell. He is a power tripper. It's 9:50. They're trying to get clarification on where the DNA went and said, look at the time, give it a rest. He is so narcissistic. He should never be questioned. Never, never, never be questioned. And here's the problem. And this is probably why he does not give press conferences anymore. He cannot be questioned. He cannot have people analyze what he's saying and come at him. And in Chris Nano's little world, where he is the most powerful person and he signs paychecks and he can demote you and he can punish you and he can make you clean toilets and go do traffic when you are a experienced, high-ranking homicide detective, you're not going to question him. He is God. What he found is when he gave press conferences and people, regular media, poked holes in his bullshit. And guess what? Chris Nanos doesn't want to have holes poked in his bullshit because he's the king. Therefore, no more press conferences. He lives in his own little world. He can control his own little world by keeping all the people who are smarter than him out. Don't ask him questions. If you're in his world and you question him, you're going to go scrub toilets. Okay? So this all makes so much sense. He is an a-hole.
Him with his family. I honestly kind of expect you to be on it at 10 p.m. a week out if we still haven't found her.
100%. I bet the Guthrie family did too. I mean, I'm thinking Savannah's not resting. They're not resting. We're not resting. That just was such a snarky response to give it a rest. You're she's missing.
And this is your job.
This is your job.
What Brianna is missing the fact she thinks Chris Nanos doesn't care by giving her that response. And what she's missing is that Chris Nanos probably does care about Nancy, but Chris Nanos cares more about him and his control. Don't question me. Don't come at me. Don't try to, because chances are he probably thought she was coming at him to say there's some mix up in where the DNA went. First, it was going to go here, then it was going to go there. Now we're hearing the FBI wants it. He can't be questioned, folks. He's right. And she can't take it that he doesn't care about Nancy. He cares more about being right. And that's all this is he knew he was going to, if he replied to her question, there was going to be a gotcha. There was going to be a follow-up. Well, you said this earlier, and he can't have that. He can't. He won't.
And there was something that the sheriff said too in that press conference, basically said, you guys.
And last point, he told us, and when they say, when a man tells you what he is, you need to believe him. And he said in one of the first press conferences, when somebody came back and said, you said this before, now you're saying this. He says, I'm not used to people believing everything I say. Hey, Gladys. Thanks for joining. He said, I am not used to people listening and believing everything I say. And I'm paraphrasing that, but we all heard it. And he says, I'm not used to having people question me. That's what that means. Do not question me, because if you're outside and I can't control you or punish you, I'm making you go away, because I want to punish anybody who does this to me, and I can't punish you.
Hold me to all my words. Like, yes, you're the sheriff of the most important, or maybe biggest, true crime investigation missing person that is happening in real time in this country. Yes, we are holding you to your words, because what you say is exceptionally important.
Not for him.
In that time frame, everything just went downhill. On social media, people were fed up with Sheriff Nanos. He wouldn't do a press conference, but then he was doing like individual one-off interviews, including with me, but saying different things in these different interviews. So then you'd have to go back to like the public information officers of the sheriff's department and be like, hey, he said this in this interview, but didn't say that in this. Is that true? And it would be like, either we can't confirm or we can't comment. So then that just like muddied the waters even more, right? With what was true and what wasn't. And I just feel like factually we needed to get the right information out there.
Did he just not know what was going on? Or like, was he, what was that?
Great question. I still honestly don't know. And there are things that have been said from him throughout these different interviews that I think he just kind of says, and like, it's not backed up by fact. Somewhat recently, he went on to a news station and said that there's been like arrests. There haven't. There's been no arrests. And that's kind of the other part of this too. When we're talking about the missteps and just,
I wonder if he's nuts. And I'm guessing, I'm speculating. I'm not accusing him of being nuts. I probably need to backpedal that. There's something wrong. He has said things, he exaggerates and he inflates. It's like he's just talking. When he said that there were hundreds of thousands of hours of video, that there were like thousands of cars they were having to go through. It was something like that. And then now he's saying that so many people there have been multiple arrests. There haven't been multiple arrests.
Like the weirdness of it all. In that first month, there were 3 people detained in the case. One of them was a DoorDash driver that lived south, like an hour south of Nancy Guthrie's home. His name was Carlos. He was detained, questioned, and then released. And then there were 2 other people who were detained in the case, Mary and Luke Daly. Mary was Luke's mom. They lived pretty close to Nancy Guthrie's home. I interviewed them both, and they still don't understand why they were detained. We still don't know why they were detained. Many people online still believe that Luke Daly looks like Porch Guy. I mean, they have online, court of public opinion, have decided that Luke could be Porch Guy, but Luke is adamant that he is not. We still don't know why these 3 people were detained. They were all released. There's been nothing more that has come of that. And there has been, as far as we know, no other detainments. And I think we would know that if there was in the case. So that's like where this kind of ends, because there's nothing more. We know that DNA is being tested.
More DNA?
Yes. So something that also, I'm like remembering this as I'm going with you. I don't know if you heard about this, but like the black glove of it all was like a big part of this. So there was, obviously the abductor was wearing gloves. Yeah. So that became like a key. What kind of gloves are these? Let's look for gloves. There was a black glove that was found on the side of the road about 2 miles-ish from Nancy's home that was tested. And that came back unrelated. It came back to DNA of a nearby restaurant worker.
Okay.
But then there was like other gloves found near Nancy's home. Like everyone was looking for gloves. It's like a scavenger hunt for gloves. And the sheriff basically came out and was like, oh, we're like, our investigators like disposed of gloves on the ground.
What are we doing here?
I don't know. And I'm like, why would we do that? If we're looking for gloves, why are we just disposing of the gloves on the ground?
Guess which one are ours? Guess which one are?
And he was like, some of them, they were blue. It's like, okay, blue, black, glove. Let's just not put them on the ground, right? Let's not. So the gloves part of this investigation hasn't really gone anywhere, but we do know that they were able to get mixed DNA from inside Nancy's home. What I mean by that is like there are multiple profiles in this DNA sample.
Whatever it is, wherever it was from.
Whatever it is, wherever it's from, right? And so they need to separate that. And like part of that becomes, obviously we expect Nancy's DNA to be part of that. Yeah. She's in the home. But like who else's DNA could be part of that? Perhaps her daughter, her son-in-law,
friends who visited,
you know,
it's that's not necessarily the smoking gun. It could be the thing, but it could mean a number of things that are completely unrelated.
Right, exactly. So they need to separate that DNA and see if there's like an unknown profile that matches somebody who shouldn't belong in the home, and then do genetic genealogy on that. We haven't heard anything more on that. I actually thought we were going to hear more about the DNA by this point, and we haven't. So that's ongoing.
I'd be surprised. I mean, like, especially with mixed samples, I know that getting like a sample that's like good enough to do genealogy.
Joe, quick question. Since people are popping over to TIR, is there still juicy stuff in the rest of this video? Let me know if it's worth watching. And I mean, I'm intrigued, but I don't know if we can, I don't know if it makes sense for us to go back and watch it. I'm going to finish watching this. Hey, Gladys. Thank you, dear. Yes, please. My email is crimecrunchies@gmail.com. And it's always in my description. Okay. Thank you so much, Gladys. And thank you for supporting the show. For the folks who are members, again, I'm not encouraging anybody to sign up as members. You guys have resisted my pleas to spend money on groceries and your loved ones and gas. But if you are a member, I thank you so kindly. I am going to do probably an illegal giveaway because YouTube does not let me do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't know until I get in trouble. I'm going to do a random drawing on the first of every month of every active member of Crime Crunchies. And I'm going to do a spin the wheel. We'll do it during a live and we can see who the winner is. And I will ask them to email me and I will send you either an Amazon or Walmart gift card for $20. Just say thank you. Can't win more than once in a quarter. That way everybody has a chance. It is because I was going to add it as a perk to my membership, the Cool Crunchy membership, but YouTube says I can't do contests or giveaways or money lotteries or anything like that. I don't know. I'm hoping nobody wants to sue me over a $20 Amazon gift card. I could switch it to t-shirts. I'm looking at maybe I could give it, if I get sued, I can switch it to t-shirts. But either way, I want to do yes. So, okay. So, Gladys, just FYI, Brianna has joined Crime Junkie. That's what we're watching is Nancy Guthrie, and Brianna is the one who's been behind the scenes. She does read Ransom Note 1 and 2 on this. And for people who are just joining us, definitely go and give the video a watch. I'm going to, and thank you. I don't want to risk anything without the prizes, but I think it's fun. I want to do something. Yeah, I'm putting the crime in crunchy. Hello, I'm on the lam. I want to be on the lam. Okay, I'm going to be on the lam and they're going to hook me up with the cuffs. So we'll do it. We'll just see how it goes. It's something fun, whatever, you know. Oh my God, you sent me gems, Joe. What? I got some gems. What are these gems? What is that? That's crazy, Joe. What? What are these? It's a mystery gift. Oh, I love mystery gifts. Thank you, Joe. 650 gems. I don't even know what those are. I'll take some bling. Well, people are leaving my show. I know what they're doing. They're abandoning me for TIR. It's not like I'm going to go and watch TIR too. Whatever. Yeah, I am going to go watch TIR. I have so much stuff. But please come back. I'm going to be, and I know Lisa at Crime After Dark HQ is at TIR. She told me, she's like, bye. She turned the lights off and shut the door. She says, I love you, but I'm going to TIR. Okay, bye. But guess who's going to be here tomorrow? Yes, I know, and I love him, but I do. When I'm watching live, you got to give it about 30 minutes for them to kind of do the intros, and there's nothing wrong with that. I like to just I do chit chat a little bit. TIR, the interview room. I like to chit chat just a bit, but I get yelled at if I do too much. Like right now, I'm kind of riffing and chit chatting. I'm gonna get someone to comment and say, "I don't want to hear about your shitty life." When my house burned down, March 14th, 2025, my house burned down in wildfires. Okay, in the state of Oklahoma. I'm gonna let you know. House burned down. Lost a cat. My favorite cat. My cat. My baby cat. Dead. Gone. Everything I own. Wedding rings, gone. We dug out my mother's urn, clothes on our back, many, many, many cats in a hotel for 10 days and renting a house. On the anniversary, I was a very young channel. And on the anniversary, March 14th, 2026, I said, you guys, thanks for joining me. There was no one there. I was talking to no one. I said, you know what? Today is a special day. I usually don't talk about myself, but 1 year ago, my house burned down, lost everything. And I got a comment. Somebody said, I feel bad that your house burned down and your cat died. Have no idea how the cat died. I'm hoping it was smoke. Don't know. My favorite cat. But I don't want to hear about your life, they said. I don't want to hear about your life. And that's when I learned that I even had a 24-second music video intro. I got rid of my 24-second. If you go back to my oldest videos that were really crappy and shitty, I have this really long video and I'm like, I got to get rid of that. I'm learning as I go because algorithm was not sending me out. It still isn't sending me out. And so I'm like, okay, I've got to change some things. So, and even now I'm having to give in to the AI freaking thumbnails. Yeah, my feelings were a little bit hurt that time. My feelings are kind of hurt now even talking about that. I mean, I get it. No one wants to hear about your personal life. I really don't try to talk too much about it, but that was a very important day that my entire house burned down, all of 100% of my belongings, and my cat died. And it was an anniversary and it was a day. So, and somebody didn't like it when I was talking about Zosha because she jumped up on the computer and they hate the channels with animals. And I just said, F it. Don't care. Zosha's a crime fighting kitty. This is saucy. My junior wolf is like, that lady's fired up tonight. I know. You guys are so sweet. And you know what? It took me a long time to even find my people. You guys, I feel like you really are my people. And that's why everyone is over at TIR. And so this is our private time. But I really feel like you guys are so amazing. And that's another reason why I'm putting the crime in Crime Crunchy and doing the member giveaway, because I know that you guys have so many true crime people. And I don't think some people are like, oh, true crime is so saturated. I don't care if there's 3,000 true crimers covering Nancy Guthrie, because not every true crime creator is going to talk and present in a way that you like, and everybody has to find their person. So I am, like I said, I'm a huge supporter of all the true crime. I cannot wait to collaborate with some other folks. My first one is going to be tomorrow with True Crime After Dark HQ. We're going to be interviewing Miss Lisa, who as a child was kidnapped, a real kidnapping. And we're going to look at the differences in what a true kidnapping looks like. How did she get it? I'm not sure. You might be talking to someone else. So, all right. So thanks, Joe, for these mystery gifts. I like some bling, 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 bling. Brabos, brabos. All right, now I'm getting silly. Let's all go over to TIR, or let's go enjoy the rest of our evening. I'm going to definitely cover all the other things that I haven't covered tonight. I'm scheduled for Thursday. Friday is going to be the Cameron Guthrie connection to the scientists. I already have that scheduled. And then this weekend, I'll go back and cover the rest of TIR is the interview room. It's an awesome show if you have not watched it. Really, really good stuff. Really psychological. They cover a lot of really, really good stuff. So you guys, I love you. Kisses. All right, y'all. Well, thank you and have a good night. I will be back with you tomorrow. I hope to see you all tomorrow on our exclusive interview live. Okay? Nighty night, everybody. Toodaloo.